Hello everyone, welcome to the new superdanielrocket channel, and today we'll be covering Justice League. First of all, I'm going to do a non-spoiler review, and then later on we're going to go into some spoilers. So for now, we're going to talk about the movie as a whole for you guys who haven't watched it yet. So overall, it's actually a pretty fun movie. I heard a lot of people actually enjoyed this movie a lot. The director of this movie is Zack Snyder, who also directed Batman vs Superman, but he's also accompanied by another director, Joss Whedon, who actually directed the Avengers movies. The big thing for me is that I feel like this is a big redemption for the DC cinematic universe. I know that Wonder Woman technically kind of did it first, as most people said, but this one confirms that the movies after Justice League are going to be at least good. I also want to take note for you guys is this is technically a sequel to Batman vs Superman, so some aspects are actually going to be referenced in Justice League, so especially you should just freshen up on Batman vs Superman, even though it's not really a good movie. Anyways, overall it's fun, but it's not that huge. Like, it has massive things that will change the DC universe. It's just showing all of the new members of the Justice League. We got Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman finally joining the DCU, and has some fun action as well. So check it out. So that was my non-spoiler review. Now for the spoilers. So to start off the spoiler review, I'm going to start off with the plot of the story. So as I said just now in the non-spoiler review, there are some aspects from Batman vs Superman that are in Justice League. And the first aspect we've seen is, of course, Superman is still dead. And due to that, all of the people in Metropolis have lose hope, even though Batman and Wonder Woman are still around. And that causes the new villain of the DCU to come in, which is of course Steppenwolf, which we actually see a bit of in Batman vs Superman. He is here to collect 3 cubes that also appear in Batman vs Superman, and to combine them so he can destroy the world. Simple. So Batman has to unite the League, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman, with the help of Wonder Woman, of course. So the plot is a bit simple. I think it's for the best for them to do a simple plot since of the overloading of Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad. They did already make things simple from Wonder Woman, but it's best they should do it for this movie as well. There are some messages in this movie, but this one is a bit spread out. There's not like one big message that they tell in this movie. It's spread out. Well, it kind of makes sense because it is a superhero movie where all the superheroes reunite. I feel the same thing when I'm watching the Avengers. So the characters of the film, of course, you got Batman and Wonder Woman, and of course I said a few times already, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Flash is somewhat the funny man of this movie. He mostly is the one who put a lot of the jokes in the movie, but still the rest of the characters sometimes have their funny moments as well. Like the part I remember where Aquaman was sitting on Wonder Woman's lasso and he tell a big speech before they go into battle. That was pretty fun. For Aquaman, they didn't really explain much. He's kind of a badass in this. He has a bit of a badass attitude. He has some moments where kind of feel like he's a badass with nice, awesome attitude. He's kind of running away from reality, as it seems there, which is one of the which goes into one of the messages in the movie as well. But I feel like at least it's fine. Besides, Aquaman is actually going to get his own movie next year, so we'll just have to see a bit more about Aquaman later on in the future. And as for Cyborg, he doesn't really have that much to offer. He is somewhat there. He is not useless over there because he has some of the powers from the cube that Steppenwolf is collecting. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of robotic. Well, kind of makes sense. He is cyborg. It's a half man, half robot. But I don't really read the comics that much. I do see him in Teen Titans Go, but of course we also got Batman and Wonder Woman. They're still the same as they've always been. But Batman had a bit of character growth a bit as well as Wonder Woman. They have some aspects as well from the Wonder Woman movie, just a bit, but not that much. So now let's talk about Superman. Well, it's a bit of a disappointment of him being revived and all. They decided to use one of the cubes that they found and use a bit of Barry's electricity to revive Superman. It was somewhat pretty cool that we actually got to see a beam of light, seeing that he's coming back from the dead. But the one problem is that Henry Cavill actually teased that he's going to wear the black Superman suit in this movie, but he didn't, which I feel like it will actually be a pretty cool aesthetic when we have that fight later on with all of the Justice League members. Although the fight is still pretty cool, I like where Superman actually fights Flash in slow motion when it's actually very fast, which I feel like is actually pretty cool. I really like that they ended off the battle as with Batman using the big guns is actually Lois Lane, which actually cured Superman, which actually he found out in Batman vs Superman, with all the time traveling stuff that people kind of got confused in. So yeah, this Superman in general is still pretty fine. He's a bit more lighter in this movie. He feels more like he's here for truth, justice, and the American way. And of course his suit is actually pretty more lighter. We actually see him the first time. The first thing we see is actually his suit. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty cool that we actually see Superman actually being a bit more like his actual self from the comics. And kind of in the old movies as well. So the final battle with Steppenwolf, of course, it is a bit chaotic, but it's not that chaotic like the previous films in before Justice League. So we got to see Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman, each fighting all of the enemies that Steppenwolf summoned into the world. It's pretty cool. It's still your average fight all the way before the countdown, but it's still fun as well. And it's Joss Whedon. He did that for the both two Avengers movies, so it makes sense. I really like that they actually see Superman reveals himself there. It's actually pretty cool seeing him fight once again with Aquaman as well. And at the end we actually get to see when Steppenwolf is almost down, Superman actually uses Freeze Breath, which we actually didn't see in the previous movies that he was in this universe, which is actually pretty cool to see that return, which actually feels like a sign that these movies are going to be a bit more lighter. And I really like the pose at the end where everybody's there: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash. Okay, I think I should not say that a lot. But yeah, that was a good battle with Steppenwolf. A nice finale for a very short movie. So yeah, since Superman's return, all of hope is actually gained back in Metropolis, and everything's a happy ending. So before I finish this off, I'm going to talk a bit more of the aesthetics a bit. I really like some of the music in this movie. Some of them are actually references to the old films. You actually see a bit of Tim Burton's Batman theme in there, as well as Superman's theme from the 70s, I think. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see that they actually reference that as well. and the coloring and the lighting is actually pretty nice and colorful. You actually see all of the colors of the suits like pop out really nicely. So I feel like Justice League redeemed the entire DC cinematic universe as a whole. I really like that all of the lighting and the jokes are pretty funny as well, and not much on the messages that they put in there isn't that pretty good. It's just spread out so they can get more on the entertainment part of it. But overall, I think it's good, and I feel like a lot of people also thinks that as well. So yeah, that's my review of Justice League. Alright guys, that is my review of Justice League. This is my first video in the new premise of my channel. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be doing some of these videos more in the future. So until then, rock it on.